what would you say if I said that I could bring them back?
I guess I'd say I never thought of that.
Well, alright, hold tight, you might want to stand back, because one small John is coming intact.
St. John forward, spitting out some more words, fully intact, jacked, ready to rap and attack. Small John on your lawn, living like a gnome, hit you with my lyrics like a bullet to your dome.
Tonight when he comes up here, he's either gonna kill or he's gonna suck. But there's no in between for Mr. John Forward.
Oh, well, I didn't know any of that.
Well, that's what I've been trying to say the whole time.
Now, technically, there is an in-between where I kill, but people act as if I sucked because they don't like me. But we'll get into more of that later. Welcome to St. John Forward Radio, getting the poop talking right out the gate. Live Monday, December 30th. It's the last show of the year. I've got lots of rambling to do tonight, so I wasn't going to have a guest, but Brian Godsoe offered to come in and be my Andy Richter. Are you comfortable with that, or is there a different sidekick that you would prefer to identify with?
I feel like I'm more of an Ed McMahon.
Okay.
Or a Kevin Eubanks. Thank you.
Who's Kevin Eubanks?
He's the band leader.
The band leader is separate from the sidekick.
Yeah, but Jay didn't have a sidekick.
Jay didn't have a sidekick, so yeah. Or I guess Letterman had Paul. What's his last name?
Yeah, the guy from what band was he from?
I don't know.
Like Paul something or the guy with the glasses.
Yeah. But yeah, Conan had Andy Richter, but he also talked to Max Weinberg every now and then. Was he? How long is Max Weinberg still around?
Yeah, he still plays with the E Street Band.
Okay. I mean, like, is he still on the Conan show?
No. Conan's got a completely different band now.
All right.
Actually, Andy Richter's probably more accurate just based on my shape.
Does anybody else have a sidekick?
What about, although he's in the band too, but Kimmel's sidekick, that little Mexican dude?
I don't know. I've never seen an episode
Guillermo?
of Kimmel.
Really?
No.
Well, you're not missing much.
I actually,
really?
I haven't seen a lot of, I don't know if I've watched any late night show other than like YouTube clips.
No,
in a long time.
They're all trash. Like, what about Seth,
Meyers?
Yeah, does Seth Meyers have a sidekick?
I don't know. I've never been into the late night talk shows. I think the only one I watched at all with any regularity was Conan when I was in like high school.
Conan in the 90s.
When the Stars Network or something first came around, and there was like a free trial, and they used to repeat like the night before at like 6 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, Conan in the 90s, like that can be attributed to a lot of my sense of humor. Like he had classic side bits like the masturbating bear. Mm-hmm. Like used to love that.
Yeah, and they had Champion on in those days, I think.
In the year 2000?
Yeah.
Actually, more of a Glenn from the Tom Green Show, probably.
Yeah, Glenn was a good sidekick.
Yeah, you can pour milk on me and make fun of my car.
Fair enough. I didn't bring any bagged milk with me, but we'll see what we can do. We'll get you fired from your phone company job.
So if somebody out there wants to call in and describe me in probably a less than flattering light as to what sidekick I am, what's the number?
648-5925, assuming that it's plugged into the right jack. Let's check. Yep. I had some confusions earlier on in the run of the show where you can switch the plug into the other number.
Yeah.
And so that the calls weren't coming through.
Well, this is already done. You put some love out in the world. Love came back to you. That's euphorolytic, is it not?
So euphorolytic. Following up on last week, by the way, I have one more point to make about warm ketchup. I understand the argument that ketchup goes bad, so it should be kept in the fridge. I'm not disagreeing with that statement, but I will posit that since every restaurant on Earth has either the pumps or it's out on the table, and Moxie pointed out that, you know, they have a quicker turnaround time on their ketchup, so it lasts, but that is the default state for ketchup. The only reason to put it in the fridge is to keep it from going bad.
So let me poke a couple holes into that. So okay. I've worked in restaurants before. I don't know if you have, But
McDonald's I worked at.
okay, well, maybe you might have something into that. But like before they put it in the pump, they keep a bag of ketchup in the fridge.
Yeah, and that's just to stop it from going bad. But
Yeah.
when people are eating it, the best way to get it is warm.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I 100% agree on that, but you can keep it out on the table all day.
I don't think they keep ketchup packets in the fridge. 'Cause they don't need to.
Well, I also don't know enough about this to really win this argument, John. But
Well, anyway.
I'm sorry for calling you a dumb
I'm
idiot.
still going to do it.
week.
I'm going to start buying the smaller bottle of ketchup so that I get through it quicker, though.
You remember purple ketchup?
Vaguely.
That was disgusting. Like it still tasted like regular ketchup, but it was just like it was like eating Grimace's shit or something. It's
I do have a bottle of mayo chup, and that is in the fridge.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a mixture of mayo and ketchup.
Gross. You are a disgusting human being.
Which it's not exactly the same thing, but when I worked at McDonald's, my awesome thing to do was to fill up a little one of those little plastic clear bowl shaped deals for dipping, and fill it up with McChicken sauce, and then a big old squirt of ketchup and mix that up. That's good on fries.
That's like the swamp water of condiments.
Yeah.
It's like put a little Arby sauce in there and squirt a little Frank's Red Hot.
Yeah, get some mustard up in there.
Yeah, so that's like a mother sauce. You're like 3 ingredients away from hollandaise.
So anyway, I had some insights about other things even more exciting than ketchup over the weekend.
Do tell.
Well, this is I'm going to take a page out of my hero O.J. Simpson's life story, and he was found innocent of murdering his wife and her boyfriend, but he wrote a book called If I Did It that goes into graphic detail about how it would have all gone down if he had done it.
Photographs in the middle too, which was kind of weird, but
Bloody handprints.
gloves that actually fit.
So, if I were going to participate in some psychedelics, I'm going to tell a little fictional tale about how my Saturday would have gone. I'm going to dispense with the past tense I'm going to simplify the grammar, and I'm going to talk
This
about
is so
it
unnecessary.
as if it actually happened.
This is so unnecessary.
Going forward with this fictional story. So I had a birthday a few weeks ago, and I have many comedy bits talking about participating in psychedelic drugs, and I had conversations with one of my friends over the years that about how LSD used to be my favorite thing, but it's kind of scarce, and it's been many years since I would have done it. And
is it scarce? How would you know that if you haven't done it in several years?
It's not really something like I wouldn't know where to get it. It's not anything that we've got another friend who has whipped out bags of mushrooms at parties constantly, but
right.
Acid's not really around as much. I think the last time I would have done it was at the Evolve Festival, like many years ago when I did a show there with Trevor Mux. But anyway, I had conversations with that, and I got a nice birthday gift from this gentleman, a nice little notebook. This is world dominating ideas on it. I don't think it's an official Moleskine, but it's that kind of deal.
Yeah, it looks like a family Bible.
And nice
a big picture of Jesus on the front.
May you write great things, my friend. Signed the man on the inside cover.
Are we keeping the man a secret?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't.
Oh yeah, because of this alleged story. Gotcha. Yeah. That totally.
Yeah,
did not
I
happen.
couldn't think of a good character name for this guy. But when I was already appreciative of the notebook gift, and he's like, check out the inside cover, and I would have opened it up and saw that there was like a little square Ziploc baggie that said 420 on it, and a little square of paper inside of it, which made me very excited.
I love that he found a way to incorporate BS weed culture into it too. That was
he didn't write it on. It was like a printed 420 bag. It was official.
It was official. Like he bought that at Spencer's Gifts or something like
Probably.
that. Woof.
So But the problem is my back has been messed up since my birthday. It's only recently fixed itself, and I didn't think that it would be a good idea to have a psychedelic trip with a bad back.
Did you go for a massage, or did you just fix it over the break?
I did go for a massage a couple of weeks ago, which helped in the moment, but didn't really solve it. I've been going to a chiropractor for a couple of weeks, which seems, I've never been. I'm trying it, but it's kind of weird, and I'm not sure if it's doing anything.
What's the difference between a masseuse and a chiropractor? Just less menu options, or?
A masseuse actually is doing something. A chiropractor, I'm not sure if I think it might be all just woo-woo nonsense.
Yeah, just...
my appointment lasts for like 5 minutes. I lay face down on a table, and just my lower half just kind of pivots up and down slightly while he just like presses down on my spine. And before we do that, he's got like this machine that's sort of like a jackhammer massager that he just kind of holds over me for about 30 seconds and just on my back, which is like a 10-second version of if you just do like the hand chop thing. So it's not even long enough that it's actually loosening anything up. It's just there for show, seems.
Was he doing any test rubs on your thighs or anything like that?
No, not a one. So we do
the
the press on the spine and lift the legs up and down for a couple of minutes, and then I lay on my side, and he kind of pushes on my hip a little bit, and then I roll over and he pushes on the other one, and then, all right, that'll be $62 for 5 minutes. I need you to come back 4 times next week.
Is that covered by work?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, at least some of it is. If I don't know what the long-term plan is for this, I definitely I think I've got like $500 of coverage, which I wouldn't have used up in that first week. So I'm going to go back. I've got one tomorrow, and then I'm not sure what happens after that. Anyway, so back is feeling slightly better. May also got me a nice little shiatsu massager thing. I think it's like a portable, smaller version of. Have you ever tried out those massage chairs like at the mall?
Yeah. You put like the dollar.
It's got like the two little, like balls that kind of rotate around. It's like that. It's pretty good.
You use it in the bathtub?
No, it plugs into the wall. That would kill me. It's for the couch. Or the office chair, technically. I haven't brought it to work yet. So anyway, I would have gone on this trip earlier, but I was injured, and I didn't think that would be a good idea. So had a nice Christmas. Don't have a whole lot interesting to say about it. We went up to visit my dad on Thursday, and then we went up and visited May's mom for the night on Friday night. May stayed for the extra night, but I came back to St. John so that I could go on my journey in a house alone. Came back into town, got started about 2 p.m. I got something to eat, and I had some dishes to do because the maid lost our key and didn't come and clean up my house on Thursday.
Is that why you guys are ghosting the maid?
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't listen to the show, actually.
Well, too bad.
I'm sorry, Consuelo, you're fired.
We've had a maid 5 times, and one time she broke our blinds in the kitchen and didn't say anything about it, and then she lost our house key, so... Anyway.
Well, all you got to do is accuse her of stealing, and then you can just have her thrown out.
Yeah, so the plan was, and, most people don't partake in these psychedelic things by themselves at home during the day, but I've done it before, and I enjoy having kind of a solo trip kind of thing, and I'd recently read a book. The author, I think, is Michael Pollan. It's called How to Change Your Mind, and it talks about the history of like psychedelic research and like psychiatry and stuff.
Okay.
And got me aching to have it back, and I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable in my mental state until today. We'll get to that later, but so I thought I was in a good headspace for it. I was looking forward to it. My plan was to didn't smoke any weed. I wanted the pure the pure action. Even when I used to when I do it, I'd do it sober and then wait like an hour or so until I feel the tingling, and then smoke a little weed and kick it into high gear.
Yeah.
But this time, so the plan was I was going to watch a movie to let it like kick in, and then I was going to do an hour-long meditation, which I've been using the Sam Harris Waking Up app to do like 10-minute meditations. I'm supposed to be doing it every day, but I've been slack. But
I love how your autism even like seeps into doing fucking psychedelics. Like,
watch your language, Brian.
First of all, I'm going to watch film. I'm going to meditate for an hour. Then I'm going to listen to 2.5 hours of podcasts.
So
I'm going to play word trust for 3 hours.
I have been getting back into my meditation practice because it had dropped off. I started doing it around when I was having the trouble with my Irving job. I used the Headspace app for a while, but more recently I started using the Sam Harris one.
Okay.
So for the last week, mostly every day, I did like the 10-minute one just to kind of get back into getting used to it. And then in the app, there's an hour-long version of it. So I was going to do that, and then I was going to just leave it to see what happened from there. I've had some, like, I've never done meditation on psychedelics before, but I remember once in university, I was in my dad's basement in like a room with no windows and set up a cot for myself and turned on like a red light. And I was doing some research. I basically made like a poor man's sensory deprivation tank.
Oh, that reminds me. You ever see the movie Altered States?
No, I should though. I know what it is.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, if you don't mind spoilers for like a 40-year-old movie, Jeff Bridges does exactly that and turns into an ape.
Yeah, well, I did not. But I was told in my research that you can't just like black out your vision because you still see like stuff.
Yeah.
So instead of that, I made myself some goggles out of I cut ping pong balls in half and put those over my eyes. So I could just see like a red glow. And this was before cell phones, so I didn't have a white noise app. So I just turned on a radio to like a dead station to get the static. But so I laid in there and was listening to it and would kind of sink into the dark place so I can get out a little bit. And but I kept getting like shook out of it because every now and then, like the radio signal wasn't completely clear. Every now and then there'd be a pop and it would shake me out of it.
It's like you're trying to find the Black Lodge or something like that. Like,
so anyway, I was going to do meditation and then see where it went from there. So about 2 p.m. I've got some scribbled notes in here. So bombs away around 2 p.m. I put on the movie. I settled on. I wasn't sure what to watch. I was thinking Holy Mountain, but that's too simple. I went with John Dies at the End instead, which is a fun.
That's a good choice. The Holy Mountain would have been kind of. It
didn't too much.
Can you be hack if you're doing psychedelics?
Yeah, a little bit.
That seems like it'd be hack.
That's a basic move.
Yeah, you might as well have been watching The Wall.
Yeah,
listening to Abbey Road or something.
So I take it, and there wasn't any flavor to it. There's usually not like a strong flavor, but there's usually like a bit of kind of like a hairspray, kind of like battery, like sting to it a little bit when you first put it in, and there wasn't anything. So I was like, is this even going to work? After 40 minutes or so, I was like, it's definitely working. I could feel it coming in hot, which...
What's coming in the first wave? What are your thoughts?
I'm just no real thoughts, just feeling tingly. It's mostly just the physical sensation.
Right.
I made it through most of the movie. I had to pause it for like the last 2 minutes because I had to go to the toilet. It started to get a little gurgly down there, and I had a bit of a diarrhea. And clearing some space. That always happens on... I don't know if it's just me.
Knowing what I was allegedly like on psychedelics, like... That diarrhea probably felt a lot more intense than it actually was, yeah?
I was still pretty early on, and I was expecting it. I was just, getting the poison out. But, by the end of this, I'm like, I am definitely in for something, because, I've got a stand-up bit I got about doing acid in Vegas and going out on the strip and talking to strangers, and that night, didn't have any weed, and that was the first time that I'd ever done acid without it, and I didn't think that it was working. Like, we went to a Cirque du Soleil show, which was trippy, but it would have been anyway, so I wasn't sure.
Also, very hack, John. Come on.
until I got back to the hotel room and took a bath and started looking at the stucco ceiling, and it was swirling around. I'm like, oh, it is working. But this time, there's no mistaking it. I was definitely on something, so it was pretty hardcore stuff. No mistaking it for my normal experience. And at this point, I wrote down, I hate this pen, need to find a better one. And then it changes color because I had a big clunky pen. This stuff was written later on, once I decided I should take some notes and caught up. So I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but I also didn't want to forget what had gone on so far. So so I got through the movie, and then I went upstairs and I don't know about the order of this, so I'm going to switch it because that's how I remember it. So I went upstairs in the bedroom and set myself up. I used my my reading pillow for sitting up in bed, and got comfortable and started up the old meditation app and getting into it. And this is this version of meditation is not really like the weird kind of hippy dippy kind of stuff. It's like he's a neurosurgeon, science guy. So,
although I can see RF like losing his mind over the fact that you need an app to meditate.
RF's a fan of Sam Harris.
All right, fair enough. That was split down the middle.
So this is very much about mindfulness, and just as training you to focus on the moment and just be aware, just follow your breath, and just not necessarily trying to block out thoughts, but just recognizing when they show up and just scooting them away and just getting back into it. And like, if you need to, just to refocus, just start counting your breaths. But it's more about just like notice how your body feels in the chair. Pay attention to like how it feels to breathe in and out. Sure. Pay attention to the sounds that you hear, and just be very aware of the moment that you're in. So that's the brunt of it, and the psychedelics are definitely accelerating this. It's made it harder to focus. I had kind of a hard time because then my mind would start drifting and going a little crazy.
Right.
But like, what really spoke to me, like he talks about like when you hear something or you feel something or you think something, he talks about how like turn around the camera. What is hearing that sound, or what is feeling that sensation, and just kind of getting the idea that our normal experience, we feel like we're like a person behind our eyes just kind of watching everything, but we're really just kind of like a point of consciousness.
So he wants you to sort of like mentally step outside yourself and sort of
just recognize that this. And then I started thinking about like being a point of consciousness, and I started to think about my own body as basically just like a meat tank for this point of consciousness that's just floating around, and all of like my five senses are just weird tendrils to go out and collect data to report back to the consciousness. Like
I always think of myself as a meat tank.
Yeah. And now this thing is cold, or that's bright, or that's this color, this sounds like that, and this feels nice, that kind of thing. But it's all just reporting back to this consciousness. And I kept getting the giggles too, but eventually I settled into a groove, and I started going with that, and just trying to be mindful of the moment. And I kept kind of sinking into kind of a weird acid trip kind of thing, and I wasn't really sure that's not really what meditation is for. So I was kind of torn between like, no, just go back to being focused and mindful, versus kind of going on that roller coaster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just started thinking about like, I've got turning the camera around, kind of like breaking, like if you're watching a TV show and they spin the camera around to the crew and stuff, except for my crew is just like my consciousness.
And like a Evil Dead 2 poster.
Yeah. And what else do we got? Yeah, and then I started thinking about other people in my life, and just he talks about it was a weird bit of synchronicity, because hang on, let me just play it. I've got the clip. This piece came at the end of the meditation, but I was kind of thinking about it throughout, because this exact sound clip was also in like the 10-minute meditation that I had literally done the day before. And the same thing came up in the meditation. So this is just 1 minute and 16 seconds. Let's hear that for a sec.
Before you get up and go about your day, take a moment to think about someone in your life who's important to you. Just imagine what it would be like to be a little bit better in maintaining your side of that relationship. You could be a little bit happier, a little bit less judgmental, a little bit freer to simply enjoy that other person's company. A little bit less self-absorbed, less distracted by your own thoughts and anxieties. And realize then that you're practicing also for that person, for that relationship. You're really trying to improve your mental health so that you can be a better friend or parent or spouse. And you might take a moment to feel grateful that you have the opportunity to do that, and that you've taken it.
What are you laughing about?
You don't know me, Sam Harris. I know exactly who I want to hear that clip, by the way.
No, as I was thinking of that, I was thinking about May as the obvious one. I also was thinking about you, Brian, because I value our friendship.
Thanks, buddy. I value our friendship as well.
And I just started thinking about, like, we're all just these points of consciousness driving around in our meat tanks, and just I want to be more conscious about the things that I do that affect other people's that I care about's conscious experiences, and like you said there, being a little bit less judgmental, and just I want everybody else's points of consciousness to have a nice time too, and if there's anything that I can do for that. So I started thinking about that, and I also
all just points of consciousness going around to various dive bars and talking about her dicks.
But I thought it was really. It just felt really profound that like that same clip, the meditation that I'd done was like day 36 of 50 in like the program that you do. So just that I heard that same thing like back to back, felt like, the universe was speaking to me and wanted me to get the message.
Well, it turns out you were on acid and you were listening to a recording.
Well, yeah, that too. We're halfway through. Let's do a quick station ID, and then we'll get back into this. Let's hear some words from Brian Godsoe.
We need the Godsoe buff. All right, I got this.
Brian Godsoe, Star Powers. Brian Godsoe.
You're listening to St. John Forward Radio, 107.3 FM. Come and get it, because it's hot.
It is hot. It is. This is the hottest radio show.
It's hot.
There is. But also like a weird side trip that I went on while I was meditating, like when I was thinking about my experience and just how I can affect other people's kind of experience. I started thinking of like myself as a virus, but like a good one, or like I want to be a good virus.
Are you the blue, the red, or the yellow virus? From Dr. Murray.
I'm whatever I need to be in the moment.
Fever or chill.
But I just thought it was a nice thought to be like a good, positive virus, and just I want, if I can infect people with good things, that if I have an interaction with them, hopefully it's something that sticks with them in a good way, and that they just can't shake. I'm like herpes.
Like on one hand, this is really positive and like a good way to think about your life. On the other hand, this is such obvious drug talk.
Yes, it's. I wrote down the words "very grandiose."
This is like the time that I did mushrooms and thought that I discovered the secret to rock and roll, which was the small moment of quiet before the solo in an Iron Maiden song.
But, it's even listen to it now. I know it seems silly, but I think the idea behind it, I still kind of like the idea of it.
Yeah, no, that's why, like, it's a two-sided thing. Like, I think that's a really positive way of looking at your life.
Yeah.
And I also think that, like, well, it's hilarious drug talk.
Yeah, it is. So then the meditation was done, and by this point, I'm about 3 hours in, and I am very into it right now.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any plans going forward. I decided that, I want to listen to an album of something. My first thought was I should put on some Tool, but again, like the Holy Mountain thing, that's very hack.
Yeah.
So I went with a band called Shining and their album Black Jazz, which is a combination of black metal and jazz, which I've always liked this album, but listening to it, it's a full-on masterpiece now, and I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna feel the same about it.
That sounds like if I was in your position listening to that, I would just think it was a goddamn nightmare.
And I'm gonna play a song from Black Jazz, and I know to most people this is gonna sound like insane nonsense, but try to listen to like how intricately put together. Like this is my. Like, I usually don't play super heavy stuff on the show because most people don't like it. I am super into it. But this band in particular, this album in particular, like, this is my classical music. It's very intricate, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. So even if you don't like this kind of music, I want you all to just kind of listen to it with an open mind and try to appreciate it on kind of the level that I was listening to it.
It's a real night at the Met.
Turn it up loud and listen to. There's a lot of stuff going on, but anyway, let's hear "Fisheye" by Shining, and then we'll be back. And doesn't that seem like a nice experience to have while tripping on psychedelic drugs?
You know, I was wrong. I did kind of dig that up until the end when he's just yelling 4379.
1375, I believe.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sure that's way more significant than the nonsense I was yelling.
So once that album closes with a cover of In the Court of the Crimson... it's 21st Century Schizoid Man. That's what I was thinking. That's the cover that's on that album.
That's a good song.
It's like 6 p.m. and I'm like, I'm not hungry, but I understand that my meat tank needs some fuel.
Yeah, you're pointing the camera on yourself and looking at how your belly was grumbling.
So I didn't trust myself to do any cooking. I probably should not have been operating like a stove or an oven. I thought about doing some skip the dishes, but then that would require even the briefest of interactions with somebody, so I wasn't sure if that was good. I figured, I could handle a peanut butter sandwich. That'll fill me up, and it doesn't require any complicated effort. But that quickly escalated to, there's not a whole lot of peanut butter in the bottom of this jar. Let me get this sharp knife and cut the jar in half so I can reach it. So I cut the jar in half.
Brought to you by keeping ketchup in a cupboard.
Yeah, I did not slice my thumb off, so I got my peanut butter sandwich and...
You got a jar of peanut butter in half.
Plastic jar, but yes. It was like one of the tall ones, and it would be hard to reach. It's one of the I would have had to get peanut butter all over my knuckles.
Got peanut butter on my hand.
Yeah.
So you're just sawing away at a jar of peanut butter.
I took a video of Tachikoma the cat standing in front of me, looking at me weird while Black Jazz was playing. I was going to post it on Instagram, but I couldn't figure out if the blue microphone with the X or the black or speaker with the X meant sound on, and which one was off. So I just decided against making any social media posts.
Well, that's probably a good idea considering you just came from, I don't want to get peanut butter on my mittens.
Yeah, so there was also a show at Punchline's Comedy Club on Saturday, and I'm like, I should... I going out in public awkwardly on drugs was kind of my jam back in the day. And I wanted to at least go for a walk, so I figured I would combine the two of them. So I took a walk across the causeway and went to...
At least that was a warm night.
Went uptown. I checked the weather. It was going to be between 2 and 0, so not too bad. So where are we?
Making me look bad, by the way, walking across the causeway. I'm driving everywhere uptown.
Yeah, it's that you don't need me to make you look bad for that.
My hands are all sticky.
But I'm also worried that my social skills are going to be even less good than usual. But going out in the world is pretty on brand. I decided to queue up some Deltron 3030.
Good call.
And I was already thinking about the virus thing, and then the song "Virus" came on, which I forgot about, and we're gonna hear that right now. So this is part of my Causeway journey.
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them. Crises precipitate change.
Secretly plotting your demise. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I want to make a super virus strong enough to cause blackouts in every single metropolis. Cause they don't want to unify us, so fuck it. Total anarchy and can't nobody stop us. You see, late in the evening, fucked up on my computer and my mind starts roaming. I create like a heathen. The first cycles of this virus I can send through a modem. Infiltration hits your station. No Microsoft or enhanced DOS will impede. Society thinks they're safe when bingo, hard drive crashes from the rending. A lot of hackers tried viruses before. Vaporize your text like so much whiteout. I want it where file replication is a chore. Lights out, shut down entire White House. house. I don't want just a bug that could be corrected. I'm erecting immaculate design. Break the nation down section by section. Even to the greatest minds, it's impossible to find. I wanna devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I wanna devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus.
I have already planned. The plan is programmed into every one of my 1,000 robots. We will not hesitate. We will destroy the Homo sapien. Now, please stay where you are.
I'm making some shit in my basement. Don't tell them no. I love you. I wanna develop a super virus, better by far than that old Y2K. This is 3030, the time of global unification. Break right through they terminals, burn them all, slaves to silicon. Corrupt politicians with leaders and their keywords. FBI and spies stealing bombs, dissipate their plans in their face and catch the fever. Everybody loot the stores, get your canned goods. Even space stations are having a hard time. Peacekeepers seek to take our manhood, which results in the form of global apartheid. Ghettos are trash dumps with gas pumps, exploded and burnt out since before the Great Union. The last punks walk around like mass monks, ready to manipulate the database or break through them. Human rights come in 100th place. Mass production has always been number one. New Earth has become a repugnant place, so it's time to spread the fear that's fun to some.
Too long have we tried to extend our glorious empire out to the stars, only to be driven back.
I wanna devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash the whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I wanna devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash the whole computer system and revert you to papyrus.
So
that's much better, John. That's a jam right there.
Thinking about devising a virus, and then I started to kind of pull it together with the comedy thing and how, like, No Jokes Barred should kind of be a virus that just infects the comedy scene with the No Jokes Barred philosophy. And I think it kind of has been, because, you know, and this is also very grandiose, but I was just thinking about how amazing it was that, like, when I started, I just did it because I really enjoyed stand-up comedy, and there wasn't anything. There was some stuff going on, but I was completely out of the loop on it. So as far as I knew, there was just absolutely nothing. Shane was putting on a couple of shows a year at the Aquarius or whatever, but I had no idea. And so it kind of feels like going from nothing to just doing it, to creating my own show and just seeing, and it's not just me that it's built up over the years, but it's just amazing that it went, like, since I started, to having absolutely zero comedy in town to now I can walk to a comedy club, get in as a VIP, and know that I can just hang out and nobody's going to give me any trouble.
That's
professional. It's a pretty good progression, and I'm starting to think, did I just manifest this whole thing just through sheer force of will?
And more drug talk, like
a little bit.
I put it on my dream board.
But as far as the virus thing, I think the No Jokes Barred thing, it's not really. Well, and we're not going to have time to get into it, but most cases, No Jokes Barred isn't really something that is a necessary addition to a show. But even like when I first started doing shows, part of it I've talked about here was that, even the shows that Shane was putting on, he was very cautious and worried about being offensive and, you know, scaring people away. Like, it was still very much geared towards, like, old ladies and just very worried about offending people. And I think the more that you know, I've pushed that no jokes barred thing, and I'm not the most offensive comedian around, but I think I've opened some doors to that, and I've run a show, and that's the first thing anytime I'm doing any show. The show's called No Jokes Barred. Are you cool with that? And I make sure.
Who would you think is the most offensive comedian around?
I don't know. I think it probably depends on the set. My pregnancy thing is up there.
Yeah,
the guts bit.
The guts bit's legendary.
But I remember at your place sometime a while ago, I had mentioned to Matt Keenan that Shane wouldn't put me on because I was too hardcore, and Matt Keenan laughed in my face. But you know, just doing that, and as I've gotten to be a better comedian over the years, there's still, you know, progress to be made. But I think just putting that out there has made other bookers a little bit more willing to take chances on stuff. Yeah. And you know, that if it's nobody's expecting a clean show for the most part anymore. That's
wild to me that, like, back in the early 2010s too, right? Or the mid 2010s.
Yeah, like I remember I did a show at the Somerset pub in the North End, and like Shane had to like pull me aside before my set and like, oh my God, calm down, man. I'm on board with whatever you want to do, but don't be too much.
That's still wild to me that like that was a concern at that time, like, and now kind of at least in this town, because I know every town's different, but in this town almost anything goes.
Yeah,
like this town loves a good dirty laugh.
Yeah, and so it's come up. Again, we're not going to have time to talk about it, but I've found out that things aren't as open as I thought they were. We'll talk about that next week, maybe. But, yeah, things are much more open, and, like, even doing shows at the Five and Dime, which seems like it would be kind of stuffy, hipstery place, but, you know, I'm not afraid to do anything there.
Yeah.
The last set that I did there was pretty offensive, and it went over pretty well.
I think that place has like this kind of air about it where like it's already uptown, and everyone in there's in their comfort zone because they're in familiar surroundings.
Yeah,
we're in our comfort zone because we're in our town, and that just kind of gels as opposed to like even the R Bar, which the R Bar you would think, and you know the R Bar did get dirty. I still remember that judge from Britain talking about like killing kids or something like that. Like it was just that guy might have been the most offensive guy I've ever heard.
I don't know. Oh, I wasn't there for that one. That was Tammy's friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was out of town.
Well, yeah, actually, I think I hosted that one. Or that was who
I'd never even heard about that. Sad that I missed that. But yeah, so I got Uptown, and I wasn't quite through the Deltron album yet, and I wanted to at least hear Battle Song, which is a pretty good banger on that album. So yeah. I sat in the is that the burial grounds across from King Square? Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
I sat on a park bench and just looked at the Christmas tree and listened to some Deltron until 8:00. I went in and had an awkward conversation with Shane and Matt Keenan, and then I just went and sat by myself and watched the show. And
anyone else come out that night?
No, there wasn't any other comics out.
Oh, okay.
Just me. And I enjoyed the headliner. There was some weirdness. There was some white trash, drunk, loud people that got thrown out and were causing a kerfuffle.
Okay.
But
like how? Wait, what happened?
Shane gave a warning, which she should.
Never, yeah.
And then instead of oops and shutting up, then it's the type of person that takes the warning as a how dare you, and then they double down.
Well, you talking to me, bro? You wanna go? You wanna take this?
And then like some guy, like Shane asked him to leave, and then he got up and he's like, "You're a real piece of work," and was like yelling from across the room on his way out. And then like the whole table of friends got up with them, and then I could see them. They were in like the front lobby kind of way, just still kind of mulling about in there, and nobody was doing anything. They kind of pretended like they didn't notice anything was going on and left Wendy out there to do crowd control on them. So
that's wow.
That's
not good.
No, I was curious, so I went out and pretended like I needed some money out of the ATM just so I could see what was going on. And it wasn't getting hostile, so I wasn't afraid.
He just sat there. He's like, I was just making the show better. I don't see what the problem is.
Basically, and like, well, he can talk to us, but we can't talk, and we were just having a good time, and we were just.
Well, they're gonna throw me out for laughing. Is that what it is?
Like, I wanted so bad to mouth off, but the state that I was in, it probably wouldn't have gone well. And also, this is not my place, and I don't want to create more of a problem and get myself in trouble with Shane and Julie.
You just turn around, this guy's like going nuts, and you're like, hey man, just take a moment, just turn the camera around on yourself.
Yeah.
Think about someone in your life. Think about
just your point of consciousness. When your meat tank is making a lot of noise, you're ruining the experience for those around you that you care about.
Think about the relationship that you have with everyone in that room and how you can make that relationship better by leaving.
Like I wanted so bad to just because they really don't understand what the problem was.
He's walking out and he's like, I think I just got Sam Harris.
Like, I want so bad to just explain, like, yes, talking, like, there's no situation, you should not be talking. I guarantee these people have never been to a play, so I can't use that, but, like, you've been to a movie, you're not supposed to talk in the movie theater, it's the same thing. Except it's worse in this case because the movie can hear you talking at it, and it screws up the movie and the experience for everybody else.
We should write a children's book about this.
Yeah. Because, like, when I'm dealing with people talking, like, when I'm on stage, I usually start out with the benefit of the doubt that just to make them aware that what they're doing is bad.
Yeah.
And, like, we're not judging you, but I'm just reminding you what the expectations of you are as an audience member. And if they dig in, and I get a bit more aggressive after that, but...
I think this was a night that I hosted for you as well, too, at the R Bar, but I once had to, like... a guy out of there with a stool.
Yeah, it was. I came later for that one. That was after my friend's wedding.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were all tuxed up.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted so bad, but it wouldn't go well, and I didn't want to get punched in the face, and I also didn't want to get in trouble with the club people.
No, that's a solid response for someone in the middle of an acid trip, allegedly.
Yeah. And then so went to saw the show, and then just kind of slipped out afterwards, and didn't feel like walking all the way back, so I caught a cab. Went home, and at that point I wasn't like super messed up anymore. I was at like the weird jittery, don't know what to do with myself phase of the trip.
Right.
It was like 11 o'clock. I watched the John Mulaney Sack Lunch Bunch.
How was that? Is that worth...
I thought it was really funny. I was heavily on drugs when I watched it, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then before that, I think I tried to take a warm bath and listen to some Comedy Bang Bang, which I enjoyed listening to the podcast, but I felt weird sitting in the tub. So I got out and watched some John Mulaney.
You're not a bath guy normally?
No, sometimes I treat myself, but usually no.
I like to smoke a joint in a bathtub.
Yeah, I at that point I tried, but it was unnecessary.
Fair enough.
And I didn't have quite enough water in the tub. I didn't want to overfill it and have it like spill over when I got in, so I was too cautious, and it didn't even like completely cover my torso when I
just bathe it in a puddle.
Yeah, so like my if I'm gonna take a bath, my penis should be submerged.
Should put that buoy under.
Yeah, and then I watched the John Mulaney thing, and then I laid in bed for 4 hours, tossing and turning and sweating and not being able to get to sleep. And and then I started dwelling on some negative things. I started thinking about how I'm being ignored by Hell's Basement, and that I thought about doing a fun comedy bit on the show every week. I would maybe call them up and leave a voicemail asking for spots live on the air. Some new information has come to light, and that will not be necessary. So anyway, we'll get into that next week. We've got how many minutes? We've got like 3 minutes left in the show. You had kind of an experience. Is it a 3-minute story?
It's But that's a little bit longer. I'll save it for another time.
Okay. Anything else of note? How were your holiday seasons? Or before we run out of time, plug your New Year's Eve show.
Yeah, if you got nothing to do for New Year's and you're in St. John, come to the Panic Room. I'm going to be opening for a bunch of bands and talking in between, and you're not going to care because you're going to be drunk and wanting to listen to music, but I'm going to be there. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And you can listen to 4 Story Walk Up.
That's right. Podbean and iTunes.
At some point, I may, unless you've changed your minds, I may participate in your year-end special whenever we can get together to do that.
That's right. Next one. Probably next week.
Okay. So look out for that. What else do we got? How much time we got to kill? We got another 2 minutes. Anything else we can talk about quickly for 2 minutes? I don't have any New Year's plans. There's a couple of friends that might have some people over, but I don't know. Might try to go see Godsoe bomb.
Yeah, come watch me bomb in front of a bunch of metalheads.
Yeah. What else? I don't know who's going to be on the show next week, but we'll get into the Hell's Basement dirt probably. On the 13th, in 2 weeks, we've got Atticus Moon, exotic dancer that I met at the Blush / Foundations / Punchlines Christmas party. She's going to come on the show.
That'll be a fun show.
So that'll be fun. And other than that, I've spoke to Corey at McGill's and shored up the next few months of dates. It will be the third Saturday of the month for January, February, and March down at McGill's.
That reminds me, I need to speak to Corey and find out when the January Sunday After Dark is going to be. Because, I'm going to be thrown down with Brian Otter.
Yeah.
We're going to go toe-to-toe, and we're going to find out who the best Brian is.
All right.
Roast off.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that.
Loser has to spell their name the way the winner spells their name from now on.
Okay, that's a fair bet, I think. So anyway, I guess we'll bring it to a close. Thank you, Brian Godsoe, for joining me.
Oh, I'm glad to be Randy Richter.
All right, my Randy Richter.
Randy Richter.
And live every Monday here on Local FM. The podcast, if you want to go back into the back episodes, is on johnforward.podbean.com. Good night, everybody.
4storywalkup.podbean.com as well.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.